What's up, YouTube? Today we're looking at the Great League again, just because it's ending shortly, and I wanted to take a look at a very secret, special Pokemon that I had a lot of fun with in the Open Great League, and that was Kangaskhan. Uh, this Pokemon has gone completely under the radar. It is a Mud Slapper, and as we know, Mud Slappers have absolutely taken over the meta this season and last. So why Kangaskhan has flown under the meta is what we're going to look at today. The main reason being it doesn't get stab on its moves, so they don't hit as hard as you would like. It is a normal subtyping, which gives it a cool niche play, and I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see it in future cups as a standout Pokemon. If you have seen someone cover this Pokemon and these battles before, it was likely Home Slice Henry because I submitted these battles to him and he showcased them before I was able to upload. But I do have even more battles with Kangaskhan that I will feature in a future video. So let's hop right into the matches. We're putting on the lead and we're pairing it with two Pokemon in the back that resist fighting, Toxapex and Talonflame, and they're just Pokemon that are neutral against other flyers and are both good against grass. Which is the two things that Kangaskhan is going to struggle the most with, as well as the fighters. And obviously, as you can see, it's got some pretty important key wins with Feraligatr, Corsola, Sandslash, Drapion, Clodsire. I think you win that in the zeros, and Azumarill is a pretty close match considering you're running a completely resisted moveset. So let's hop right into the battles. Obviously losing to your flyers, but that's what we have two safe spots for in the back. And obviously, we're going to pick up a terrible lead in the first match. This is a core breaker in Shadow Dragonite. We come in with Toxapex, and we're going to go for a Brine right away just because it was good timing. And you're going to need two moves to take out the Dunsparce either way. And we can survive two drill runs here, I believe. We don't have the highest ranked Toxapex, but we can still survive two drill runs plus a couple more rollouts, so we should be able to make it to the Sludge Wave here. Obviously, the terrible pacing on Toxapex makes up for it with its bulk. We make it to the Sludge Wave. If they no-shield this, it actually leaves them on 1 HP, so that's unfortunate. Not that we really needed to flip switch. If anything, we needed more of an energy lead, and we could have gotten some better energy on the Kangaskhan maybe. Maybe not leave them as low, but coming into the Kangaskhan match, we're kind of forced to stay in this matchup. We're baiting with the power-up punch, and they actually make a really nice catch onto Superior, but we have a perfect Pokemon in the back in Talonflame, and they are completely walled. Their fast move is double resisted here, so we can go for the full Incinerate Farm Down, and that will allow us to come out with back-to-back flies, and when we come out with back-to-back flies, and we're basically out of crunch loaded because we baited with the power-up punch, they're not going to be able to shield 3 moves because they only have 2 shields, and Dragonite Shadow is really glassy. So there's 1 shield, here comes a second, and then combo with the Kangaskhan, make it to the crunch after 1 more Mud Slap. This will probably put them deep into the red, basically knocks them out. 1 more Mud Slap plus the defense fall, and we're able to take the win in the first match. Okay, Clodsire in the lead. It's said in the Sims that we lose the ones, but they switch out into a Dunsparce, and we actually don't have a great response for Dunsparce in the back, so I just go for the power-up punch, just because I didn't want to give them that free turn. And now these Mud Slaps are chipping, however, their charge moves are going to do a lot more damage than a power-up punch, and at this point I don't know if I should have CMP tie them with the second power-up punch, or if I should have committed to the crunch, because we do win CMP. So I think that was actually the wrong play, but they get the back-to-back drill runs here. I catch the second one on my Toxapex. A little bit of a strange play, I think. But the switch timer is actually up for my opponent, and at this point, we do have a slight energy lead, so we are able to get to the Brines, and I believe 1 Earthquake will not knock out. And if it doesn't, then it's going to put us in a really awkward farm down range for the Clodsire, where they're going to be forced to throw a second move. I don't know, actually. That looks like they're going to be able to Poison Sting farm us down, but I guess we'll see. We come right away back in with the Kangaskhan. This forces them to throw their energy. They do not want to take any more super effective Mud Slaps. And at this point, we can just come in after waiting the full timer with our Talonflame and try and go for a 2-shield Talonflame sweep. And this is an instance where having Flame Charge is really nice. They do make it to the Stone Edge. We do have to respect this. And at this point, we can go for the full farm down. They come in with Dunsparce. We get one more Incinerate off. Don't want to take any more rollouts. And don't want to let them get to a move, so we're going to go for the move there. We wait the turn, wait 3 turns actually, and then get the catch on Toxapex, not throwing the Incinerate there. That allows us to get 2 more Incinerates to farm them down. What is that Pokemon in the back is the question, and it's a Serperior, so this is absolutely huge. We're at back-to-back flies, but 1 fly will not KO from this range, so even if they shield this up, 1 more Incinerate and a fly, this will just about KO at this point. Leaves them on 1 HP, but they come in with Claude. They get farmed down, and we're able to take the win. Kangaskhan into Stunfisk. So this is also a great lead, obviously weak to the ground on the Stunfisk, and they're staying in. Unfortunately, because we're not an actual ground type, Discharge is neutral. However, they do just go for the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb is better damage per energy. Discharge is just a slightly more damage. And we get off the crunch, don't get the debuff, but we can survive 1 more Mud Slap, and they actually come in with Jumpluff. Now this feels like a Talonflame bait out to me, because otherwise you wouldn't really safe switch a Jumpluff, so I actually come in with my Toxapex here. And they go for the Energy Ball, that does not KO. Over farming, and they actually get to a second move. They throw another Energy Ball, and they actually get the Defense drop. I get to 100 energy, so I'm forced to throw. I know they're going to shield this, especially after getting that defense drop, because they're going to think that they can flip switch. And I will respect a potential energy ball here. And then I'm just going to go for the Sludge Wave once again before they get to the next move. And we actually CMP tie, but this can only be an Aerial Ace. And even though our defense is lowered, this will not KO. Puts us in the red, but we do get the KO with the Sludge Wave here. And that actually limits the farm that they're going to get, which is pretty nice. And they come in with the Stunfisk. They get the full farm down, which is pretty unfortunate. We can just come Kangaskhan. 1 move will not KO here. So they're going to be forced to throw back-to-back moves, which they are. And at this point, we're just going to once again sacrifice the Kangaskhan. But probably do not have a Talonflame answer in the back. And it's actually a Drifblim. So actually good that we have sent in our Toxapex into the Jumpluff, because Toxapex has no play into Drifblim. They actually make it to the Icy Wind on CMP. What are we going to do? We have to kind of shield this up. They're not going to get to a move on their Stunfisk because they just dumped all their energy. And at this point, we have to just go for the full farm down. 1 Incinerate KOs the Stunfisk, and we're able to take the game. Okay, Kangaskhan into Gastrodon. So this is a matchup where you're going to see why Kangaskhan is not as strong as you would hope. We do win CMP here though, so we're going to play to the CMP tag, but we're kind of forced to shield this up because an Earth Power would nearly KO us, and their Mud Slaps are just doing more damage because of the stab. And they actually come in with Gujarat. We don't have a great response here, so we're going to go for the Crunch. This will do some decent chip damage, and they shield that up, but we actually get a Crunch debuff, so that's huge, because even though they have the super effective Thunder Punches here, it'll take 2 to KO, plus the Dragon Breaths. So at this point, we can probably go straight Brine, but I am going to let this Thunder Punch go. I don't really need Switch, so I'm going to go for the Sludge Wave at the very last second, limiting their farm on their Gastrodon, and they actually come in with Talonflame, so that's a really smart play by my opponent. And now we're behind on an Incinerate on Talonflame, which stinks, because this is a situation where we will really want to be at energy parity, but we actually are able to get a catch onto our Kangaskhan. So there's 1 fly that we're able to dissipate, and now we're going to shield up the second. This should put them just about into fly range. I wait the turn, make sure I see the Incinerate go through. This fly should be enough to KO. No, it leaves them on 1 HP, and unfortunately that is going to make this a loss. What I should have done, to be honest, is probably Incinerate 1 more time and played to a CMP tie on the fly, because there's a good chance my Talonflame would win CMP with the 6th attack. But anyways, into the next match, we've got a Dragonite on the lead. This is obviously a terrible matchup for Kangaskhan, so we come in with Toxapex. And I think we overfarm slightly too much here. No, we actually go for the Slug Wave right before they make it to their move. This will be enough to KO, but they're going to shield anything here. And because we didn't go for a Brian, we don't get the 2 moves, and we get fully farmed down. So we're going to come in with Talonflame, and probably just double shield here, and then come out with a bunch of energy loaded. Because usually Dragonite is paired with Steels in the back, so maybe a Sand Slash in the back. And it's a Togetic. So this is obviously a great matchup for Talonflame, and kind of lets me know that they have something weak to it in the back. And then we go for the catch of the Ancient Power onto the Kangaskhan. We are unsuccessful, and it's a Annihilate in the back. So the correct read that Talonflame would be good in the back, but no Steels. Fortunately, they don't know Kangaskhan counts, so they do throw their energy. It is just Rage Fist, but that means they're only going to get 2 more counters. And I believe we can outpace. No, we're going to overfarm. We could have taken them out there, but I believe we need to come out with 2 moves loaded. And we try and undertap the fly, predicting the Togetic would snipe, and they don't. But we are able to undercharge it, get the full farm down, come out with a fly loaded. Absolutely massive. Is this enough to KO the Togetic? It is not. They survive on 1 HP. So once again, a 1 HP survive from my opponent. And because of that, they are able to take that win. Okay, into the next match, we have Feraligatr. So we saw both Shadow and non-Shadow. This is a positive matchup in the ones for Kangaskhan, especially when they throw an alignment and allow an entire Mud Slap in for free. 1 Hydreigon, we easily survive, so even though they outpace, 1 Crunch plus the Mud Slaps will actually be enough to KO here. And they no shield, so 1 more Mud Slap gets the KO, and it's a Dragonite in the back. Once again, don't have a great answer for this, but we are able to make it to another Crunch, so that's absolutely massive. They do shield that up, and now that means we can put this on our Toxapex and get the right alignment. And these Poison Jabs are adding up, and we learned that there's no really real point in going for a Sludge Wave here, because even if they KO and we bait with a Brine, then that means we can get an Incinerate farm down. So I think just going Brine here is probably the safer play, especially because it looks like we're about to make it to 2. And yeah, they're definitely in Brine range at this point, even though it's a crap move. And they let that go, and it takes out, and there's the Sand Slash in the back. So this team was a little bit better suited for us. Clodsire in the lead. So is this one going to switch out, or are they going to play out this matchup? They are going to switch out right away. They come in with a Primeape, lightning fast pacing on the Primeape, but several Rage Fists are not going to threaten the Toxapex, and my Poison Jabs are just doing so much more damage than their Karate Chops. We're not really threatened by this. And they only farm to the Rage Fist there. We're going to throw 3, making sure to overfarm as much as possible. Even if they survive this, another Rage Fist will not KO from this range, and they have to go for it because 1 more Poison Jab would KO, and they don't have the energy for a close combat there. So you're able to maintain switch, and this is an awkward health range for the Clodsire to Poison Sting down. So go for that Brine. We will make it to another Brine unless they throw their energy here. So they are going to throw their energy, probably going to go for either a Sludge Bomb or a Stone Edge, whichever is their cheaper move. And that lets us know that they have Stone Edge. So that's good information for our Talonflame in the back. And they have a Galarian Moltres in the back. Down energy, this is not a great position to be in. But we are doing more fast move damage than they are with these Sucker Punches. Gonna go for one of the moves. Still want to throw in good timing, even though we're boosting our Incinerates. And this is a great situation to have Flame Charge. We're gonna double shield here because we don't really have any other option. We can't Mud Slap down. Looks like we're not quite gonna get the farm down there, so we're just gonna go for a fly at the last second. This does put us at 1 HP. I'm instant switching because I need to grab a shield with the Crunch. And these Mud Slaps are doing a lot of damage, and I want to get the defense fall if I can before I come back in with a Talon. And unfortunately, we don't get that defense fall. But they throw the Earthquake. That's not enough to KO. Honestly, Kangaskhan has some really nice bulk and decent pacing with the Crunch. So able to get to another Crunch here before they make it to another move. Doesn't quite KO, but the Mud Slap after does, and we're able to take the win without even using that fly we banked on the Talonflame. Okay, Dunsparce. This is a pretty neutral lead, and honestly, this is a situation where you really want Brick Break over Power Up Punch, but I did not want to use an Elite TM on a Pokemon that I was just testing out. And I think the recommended moveset is Stomp, which also requires an Elite TM, and Stomp is not a great move, so there wasn't really any point. They actually come in with Talonflame. We have a great response here in Toxapex. They're going to throw the move. Even a Brave Bird here will not KO. Yeah, Toxapex is grossly bulky. Just going to go for 2 in the move here because they did overfarm by 1, I believe. So this means they are at another move. We're going to match shields here. No point in letting this go, and we can't really farm it down. At least not yet. We could maybe farm it down with Incinerates on the next if they decide to double shield, but they don't. They let that go. And they are going to be kind of forced to throw here because, yeah, we would make it to a move otherwise. So they do throw the Drill Run. We now can come in with Kangaskhan. We're going to go for the harder hitting Crunch now at this point. And that does some decent damage. And then they come in with an Annihilate. So this is actually a great matchup for us in the back. We have the Talonflame, and they throw on alignment. That's huge, allowing an entire Incinerate in for free. We can probably just go straight Flame Charge here. No, we're going to go Fly. That's fine too. It does allow us to get some better pacing here, and we undertap the Fly, but they actually are already at another Rage Fist, and I did not know that Talonflame, even with a 6 attack, would lose CMP to Annihilate, but we do. Get off the Fly, this will KO. Don't really want to let them farm us down here, so we're going to come in with Kangaskhan, force them to throw their energy as soon as they get it. And at this point, they should be energy dry, so 1 Incinerate, farm down the Dunsparce, and we're able to take that win. Into the next match, Clodsire in the lead. Will we get one that stays in, or do they all already know that Kangaskhan's a Mudslapper? No, this one actually is going to stay in. So let's see this one shield scenario here. We do outpace the Crunch, so that's pretty nice. They are at the Earthquake now, though, and we get the defense drop, so that's huge because PB Poke does not sim the defense drop on the very first Crunch. And they do outpace us here, so it looks like they would win the ones, maybe not, because we would probably be able to get the full farm down at that point. I don't think we would have need to throw a move, especially because we have Power Up Punch. We could bait with a Power Up Punch. If they shield that, we farm them down, but they come in with Primeape. We have a great answer here in Toxapex. Toxapex is just monstrously bulky, so it's not really threatened by the Primeape trying to flip switch here. However, if they came in with Annihilate, obviously we would come in with our Talonflame there in the back. They do throw another Rage Fist here that is still not enough to KO. We are at enough for another Brine. So we are at even shield scenario now, and it looks like they were going to get a nice farm down. So we are going to get to the Power Up Punch. Are they going to shield this? They are, and because they got a slight Poison Sting head start, they do actually make it to another move. And the reason I shield that up is because they shielded a Power Up Punch when they were really low, so that let me know that they were weak to this in the back, and they are. They've got Feraligatr. They throw an alignment that is whatever. They're basically in 2 Incinerate farm down range, and they should be energy dry, so we can probably just come in with a Talonflame and just Incinerate farm them down. 1 and 2, get the full farm down. Their Clodsire is energy dry, so we farm down the Clodsire, and we were able to take that win. Into the last match of the video, we've got Feraligatr on the lead, so this is obviously a great matchup for us. 1 Hydro Cannon does not KO, and we can survive 1 Hydro Cannon from a Shadow, as we've seen. So we let it go. Does about 60-65%. Puts us deep in the yellow. We get to a Crunch. And they actually make a really nice catch onto Azu that I did not see, but we have the best answer in the world against Azu, and that is Toxapex in the back. So my opponent is ABA Weave to Grass, Electric. Yeah, I don't really know what they would do against either of those. and double wake to talk specs as well. So interesting team comp. And then they come in with a Ferrothorn, and we are going to come in with Talonflame. We will respect a Thunder here because we did let them get an energy head start because we were slow on the first switch. But at this point, they're not even going to make it to another Thunder. So we can actually just let this second one go. This can only be a Power Whip. And we did get the full Incinerate farm down. What are they going to come back in with Azu or Feraligatr is the question. They come in with Feraligatr, so we're going to throw the fly right away because we do not want to get outpaced here. And they do get to the move, so I'm actually going to shield this up, which is kind of interesting. I guess we got to use a shield somewhere, and they actually make a really nice catch on the Toxapex. I'm going to go for an undercharge here. There is no point in doing this. I think I just forgot how much energy I had on my own Toxapex. And because I do that, they actually get to a move. This game is pretty much unlosable at this point, but still making a little bit of misplays here and there. We are going to get off the brine. They're basically in double brine range, so we're just going to get off the second brine. And if this doesn't KO, I would have put them at 1 HP, which it does. One more poison jab takes the cake. We're able to take the last win. But yeah, that is Kangaskhan, the secret mud slapper that no one is looking at for some reason. Obviously, if you're going to use it and you want to fully commit to it, I would recommend probably Brick Break on it, because Brick Break does a little bit more damage. Power Up Punch is nice for boosting the mud slaps because you don't get stabbed, but Brick Break lowers their defense. Similarly to Crunch though, so I mean you could argue that maybe you don't want two moves that kind of have the same deal when you could just go for a harder hitting Crunch, but yeah, I think if I were going to use it again, which I did, I ended up putting it as a safe swap in the back because I felt like a lot of the poisons, especially like Shadow Drapion, were being safe switched in, and it would have been really nice to have an answer in Kangaskhan in the back. So maybe Talonflame Lean, Kangaskhan in the back, and then a third, which I won't quite reveal just yet because the team is working pretty well for me right now, and I want to keep running with it where I am. But I will showcase that next time Great League comes around, so you guys have that to look forward to. But thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.